Hey guys, welcome to the Moving to Dallas, Texas channel. I am your Dallas real estate agent, Jaran, and I have a special guest today. We have Major. He is a lender here in Dallas, Texas. Now, before I go any further, I want Major to tell us about himself. Where is he currently licensed, and if he can serve you nationwide? And we'll just unpack a few questions for you guys. So you guys tune in, watch this to the very end. And please don't like to share, like, and subscribe to our channel.
So thanks for having me on. I appreciate it. My name is Major Singleton. I am Major has nothing to do with the military, but I'm a military veteran. 23 years I spent in the Navy. Originally from South Carolina, but we now make our home here in Dallas, Texas. I'm licensed in 7 states, but I am able to service you and give advice in any state that you might be traveling to.
So you guys heard that first. I've always branded myself as a nationwide resource. So you heard it. Major can help you nationwide. So if you have any needs that's locally here or out of the state boundaries, yes, we can serve you. So we'll dig right into it. We'll unpack some of you guys' burning questions. We understand the real estate market is kind of in a frenzy right now, and there's a lot of unknowns and uncertainties. So this is why we're here to help you guys uh, just to kind of maybe answer some of the burning questions that you guys may have as a first-time home buyer, or if you are a seller thinking about making some changes. So we'll dig right into it. And the first question that I have for Major is, Major, are there any special programs or incentives for first-time home buyers?
The answer to that question is emphatically yes. Whether you're doing an FHA program or you can do a down payment assistance there are multiple programs available if you are a first-time home buyer. Even if you're not a first-time home buyer. By the way, anybody that has not owned a home within the last 3 years, you're technically considered a first-time home buyer. If you haven't owned or been on a deed for the last 3 years, you're technically considered a first-time home buyer. But I do want to mention that often the greatest benefit in this market could be seller concessions that can help you pay your closing costs or something like that. So we actually have buyers that are getting down payment assistance and getting seller concessions to pay the closing costs, and they're walking into a home in this market with very little money out of pocket.
That's a good answer to a question. One thing that I mentioned to my clients is, if down payment assistance or grants, if that is a need of yours, hey, I tell my clients, ask the lender this question. Hey, based on my family size or my income, do I qualify for down payment assistance?
Mhm.
Do you agree that that's a good question
Absolutely,
to ask?
absolutely. No matter if you're working with me or anybody else, ask that question. If there are any down payment assistance program available to you, even if you don't take advantage of those, you need to know whether those are available to you and how they can work in your benefit. Now, I will tell you this also: if you're getting down payment assistance, you don't get something for nothing. So, if you're getting down payment assistance, typically the interest rate on those programs are a little bit higher. There might be some other drawbacks that you may want to know about. And so you should ask your lender that also. Hey, if I take this down payment assistance program, what are the drawbacks to me taking this down payment assistance program? Because anybody who sells down payment assistance as it's the greatest thing ever may not actually be the best thing for you.
I like that. Something is going to cost you a little
It's going
bit.
to cost you something.
So nothing is free.
Absolutely.
So the next question, I'll dig right into it. It says, what are the most common mistakes people make when applying for a mortgage?
Waiting or think you're waiting until everything is perfect for you to just get pre-approved. So when you're a pre-approval doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to buy a home. It means that you're getting ready to buy a home should the right opportunity present itself. So sometimes people will say, hey, I'm going to pay off X, Y, and Z before I get pre-approved, before I look into buying a home. That could be a big mistake because you could spend $5, $10, $15,000 paying off something that you think is going to help you get in a better position to buy a home, when in actuality, maybe you should have saved that money for closing costs or down payment or something like that, and you end up paying off something because you didn't talk to a lender first. So talk with the lender first and get pre-approved before you take those gigantic steps that you think are actually going to change your financial situation. Talk first and see if those are actually going to help you better your financial situation.
Now, speaking of, down payment and, certain clients want to put down just a considerable amount of money. Um, I guess, what do you think first time home buyer or buyer's interest to put down 20%?
Depends. My thing is always, I ask, what is your goal with that home? So if your goal with that home is to pay off that home, whether that's in the next 5, 10 years, and you have the money available, yeah, let's get to the goal quickly and you put down a large amount. However, if your goal is not necessarily for that to be your forever home or for you to pay that home off, it may make sense for you to put less down on that home and actually keep some money in your pocket, especially with our economic situation right now. We may be going into recession or something like that. You may want to have that money in savings and not put that vast amount of money down on a home. The thing that people really don't realize is that on average, if you put down another $20,000 on the purchase of your home, you're only saving about $100 a month. So, it might not be in your best interest to put down this vast amount of a down payment.
So you guys heard it first. In most cases, or depending on your situation, sometimes we don't want to put too many eggs in one basket. Those are extra funds that you could save after you close to purchase furniture, if you want to travel, if you want to invest more in the stock market.
Mhm.
So I get it. Some people want to put 20% down, but the data shows, at between the 4th and 7-year mark, this is where people tend to think about moving,
Mhm.
upsizing or downsizing. And here in Texas, what we've seen, equity has worked in people's favor to where you didn't have to put down 20% down. You likely gained it through equity. So just keep that in mind. So we'll get back into another question.
Mhm.
What are some important considerations for choosing a mortgage lender or broker?
Wow, this is a good one. Okay. Interest rates are important. Okay. And I'm not going to downplay that and tell you that, hey, you shouldn't shop around for an interest rate or something like that. I'm not downplaying that at all. However, with most people, especially if you're a first time home buyer, you have to ask yourself a different set of questions. Who's going to educate you? Who's going to serve you? Who's going to answer your questions? I am a mortgage broker. I am biased towards mortgage brokers. I'll put that out there. I'm biased towards mortgage brokers because oftentimes you need personalized service. Typically, you're working a 9 to 5 job. And when you get off from work and sit down and talk to your spouse and have these questions at 7 p.m., 8 p.m. at night, you need somebody available to you that's going to really answer your questions and really answer those questions when you and your spouse might be having pillow talk about a certain topic. And you don't want to sleep on that because you'll end up not getting any sleep because you're worried about, some small questions that's really you shouldn't be worried about. So personalized, making sure the greatest ability of any lender is availability. So you need to make sure that person is going to be available to answer your questions and lead you through this process. Now, of course, you want to make sure they have competitive interest rates and stuff like that. Those are important. But I think having the heart of a teacher and somebody that's going to help lead you through this process is probably the most important thing for a lender.
It's really good.
Mm.
So my next question for you is, if they come to you and say like, hey, Major, I want to shop,
Mhm.
I want to compare your rates to another company or what would be your response to that?
I want to do that too. I want to compare my rates to other people's. Now, what we do as mortgage brokers is a broker is not captive to any one company. What a broker does, the broker looks at multiple different companies and see who has the best benefit or who has the best rates and fees for your particular situation. I used to be a retail lender. I used to work for one captive company. And when I did that, I would walk into my office and sit down at the table, and they would give me, and they'll say, hey, these are the rates for today. No matter what loan you're doing, these are the rates for today. Today, as a broker, having access to 80, 90 different lenders, I look at all of those lenders at once and say, hey, these are the rates for that individual lender. So I'm doing the shopping for you. So if you want to shop around, a mortgage broker probably is the best place to shop because they have a plethora of different options, situations to look at for you.
So you guys heard that first. You can go the retail route where you have to deal with one product, or if you come to a broker, they can shop maybe 50 or so different lenders.
Absolutely. And the other thing is about a broker is, sometimes you might find that your situation may not fit into, some cookie cutter situation. Maybe you're self-employed and you haven't filed your taxes, or maybe you wrote off too much on your taxes. So the broker is going to have those other options. Might be a bank statement loan, might be a no doc loan, or something like that that helps you get into that home now instead of waiting like 2 years to get your taxes straight or something like that.
That's a good point. So, speaking of self-employed
Mhm.
individuals, what advice would you give for self-employed individuals, entrepreneurs,
Mhm.
creatives, you name it, who their desire is home ownership? What advice
Absolutely.
could you give them?
My number one thing that I would talk to a self-employed individual about is you need to start the conversation early with a lender. Talk to someone who's gonna, if you're planning to buy a house a year from now, yes, there are portfolio products that you can use to get into your home if you don't file your taxes or if you write out too much on your taxes. There are portfolio products that can help you get into a home, but also you would be better off if you planned for that in the future, so you would know, hey, I may not want to write off all of my expenses or something in X year because I want to buy a house in this year, or I want to move when my kids graduate from college or something like that, or graduate from high school. I want to move, so I may need to make some adjustments in how much I write off. So you need really a partnership between your lender and your CPA to really figure out what's the best situation for you. So you need to have a lender in your back pocket that's really walking with you through this process.
That's really good. The next question I have: are there any recent changes or trends in the mortgage industry that borrowers should be aware of?
Whew, this is, yes, there are. The one that comes to mind right now is something called LLPAs, loan level pricing adjustments. Okay. Now, LLPAs or loan level pricing adjustments are what we call hits or additives to an interest rate based on your particular situation. Now, you'll remember this a couple of months ago, there was this article and this dialogue that came out that said President Biden was cutting, interest rates for less qualified buyers or something like that. Not exactly true, but there are LLPAs or loan level pricing adjustments that are frankly making conventional loans more expensive. So, these are things that are going to impact you as a buyer. It might make more sense, even if you have a higher a FICO score. It might make more sense to go FHA because the interest rate might offset the amount that you pay in private mortgage insurance or something like that with an FHA loan. These are things that may make sense for your situation, but these loan level pricing adjustments are having an impact on the market, especially if you're buying an investment property. These LLPAs are challenging. Even for me as a mortgage professional, to look at these things, I'm like, wow. And it's not that the interest rates are necessarily getting bad as fast, it's that the LLPAs that Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac are adding are making it more challenging.
The next question I have: are there any specific credit score requirements for VA loan applicants?
Now, VA is my bread and butter. I love VA loans. It is my favorite loan. I love them. I love servicing veteran. I'm a veteran. I love it. The answer to your question is no, there's no minimum credit score for a VA loan. However, individual lenders have what we call overlays. Okay. And what an overlay is from a lender perspective is I grew up in South Carolina. Okay. My mom was a minister, my dad was an alcoholic. So what would happen is my mom had certain rules that were in place for us. When you went out, you had to be in by midnight. Okay, you had to be back in the house by midnight, 11:59, your butt better be in the house. All right. So we had these rules in place that my mom put in. Now, I'm not going to ask you this, but there are many people watching who, as teenagers, came into the house after midnight. So it's legal for you to do it. However, you couldn't do it in my mom's house. That's exactly what an overlay is. So, and this is important for buyers to understand because you may go to a bank and the bank may say, "Hey, your credit score is 619. We need your credit score to be a 620 so that we can do a VA loan for you." What they've communicated is an overlay. However, what they did not tell you is that if you went down the street and talked to this person or this bank, they might be able to do it at 619. So there's no minimum credit score for a VA loan, but individual lenders do have minimum credit scores. So we have lenders that will go down to a 500 on a FICO score in order to get you into a home. I do know of other companies where their standard or their minimum credit score is a bit higher. So the VA does not say you have to have a minimum score. Individual lenders do say you have to have a credit score.
And thanks for clarifying that, because a lot of vets who are home buyers,
Mm-hmm.
they have this notion that, hey, I have to have this minimum credit score of 620 or 600, and this is why I want you to talk to a professional who happens to be a vet themselves, who happens to close many tons of VA loans and many other loans as well, and he could educate individuals on that if you desire to purchase a home and take advantage of a VA loan. Correct? The VA loan is zero down payment. Correct?
It is zero down payment. It's the greatest, I believe, as a veteran, I believe it's the greatest benefit you get for serving this country is your VA home loan entitlement. It is absolutely amazing. I used to think the GI Bill was your greatest benefit you got for serving the country. But the VA loan is absolutely amazing. And the flexibility of a VA loan. Sometimes I run into situations where people are trying to talk the veteran out of using their VA home loan entitlement. And I run into people who want to say, hey, thank you for your service, but they don't want to help the veteran get into a home using the entitlement that they have actually earned. So it's absolutely important that you work with a realtor who understands the VA home loan entitlement, and then you work with a lender who understands the VA home loan entitlement and can help you get into a home as a veteran.
My next question for you, Major, is this. Now, what are some drawbacks to the VA loan, or what are some things that a vet may not know outside of it being zero down or credit score implications? What are some other things that vets may not be aware of if they want to take advantage of a VA home loan?
The first one is this must be your primary property, at least initially. Okay, you must intend to occupy that home as your primary property. Okay, you cannot use your VA home loan to buy an investment property. Now, you can use your VA home loan to buy a property and then move out of that property and rent out that property. Use your VA home loan again, whether you use your remaining entitlement, whether you convert that VA loan to a conventional loan and buy again. Those are some things that you need to be aware of. This must be your primary, or expected or intended to be your primary property. The other cool thing about VA loans is, as of 2020, January 2020, there is no maximum to the VA home loan. You can buy a custom built home using your VA home loan entitlement. Okay, you are only limited again by overlays by how far the lender says you can go on that VA home loan. Now, some lenders will tell you you cannot go above $726,200, which is the current county loan limit in this area we're in right now. But you can go up to as much as you income qualify for. We have lenders that will allow you to go up to $4 million, 100% financing on a VA loan. So you are not limited. You're only limited by your income qualification. You're not limited by the VA loan itself.
So you guys heard that. Do not get in trouble for mortgage fraud.
That's right.
You want to sleep well at night, okay? I understand that, this whole wave of building generational wealth, real estate investing, but we want to sleep good at night. We did the right thing, and we took advantage of the VA home loan by being our primary residence first. And if we decide to refinance later or rent it out, whatever the case, going into the situation, it was our primary residence. So do not get in trouble for mortgage fraud. And we understand that for most home loans, if you do not occupy the property as your primary residence, you have to put down 20%.
Absolutely. You're going to have it's an investment property if you don't occupy it as your primary residence. So sometimes people try to skirt this by doing a FHA loan or saying I'm going to live in there, I'm going to move there or something like that. One other thing I'll say to you, I will tell something that you should never tell your loan officer is let's pretend I didn't say that. Nope, you said it. You said it. And you're really going to limit our, put our hands tied if you tell us like, I might not really live there or something like that. We have a license to protect. Yep. So your individual purchase, while we want to help you get into a loan, we're not going to commit fraud while doing it.
Okay. Well, let's segue into the next question. Can a VA home buyer use that loan to purchase a multifamily property.
Absolutely. Now, this is one of the greatest ways to actually build generational wealth. You can actually use your VA home loan entitlement to buy a single family home, a duplex, a condo, a triplex, up to a quadplex, up to a four family. You can use your VA home loan entitlement. There are actually some situations where you can use the income producing potential of the other three units to potentially qualify for more and buy that property, and the other tenants or whatever that's living in that triplex or quadplex are actually going to be offsetting your monthly payment. I actually have one buyer right now that's buying a triplex. He is actually going to be spending $300 a month because he's buying a triplex and because of the rents coming in the other property. So yes, you can do this using your VA home loan entitlement, and it's absolutely a great tool to potentially buy let's say you want to buy a quadplex or a triplex. You want to live there for a year and a half, 2 years, and then you want to buy another triplex or quadplex. That's totally legal for you to do using your VA home loan entitlement.
So my next question is, how many loans can a vet essentially utilize, or the benefit of the VA loan? How many times can a vet utilize that program?
Very complicated question to answer from a singular point of view, but the answer is as much as you have on your remaining entitlement. Okay. Now, this comes down to an issue of entitlement with the VA. Okay. Now, let me give you an example. Let's say you have someone who lived in San Diego, California, and they bought an $800,000 home using their VA home loan entitlement in San Diego, California. Okay. And then they say, hey, I want to move to Dallas, Texas. I have a VA, my VA is on my home, and I don't want to refinance because I have a 2.3 interest rate or something like that on my VA home loan in San Diego. I want to move to Texas and use my VA again. You probably can't do that. And here's why. Because the maximum entitlement, if you have part of your entitlement used, is $726,200 in Dallas, Texas. However, you've used $800,000 on your home in San Diego, California. So you have to find another vehicle, potentially a conventional loan, potentially your spouse. If your spouse is also a veteran, you can use their spouse's entitlement, or you convert that the home in San Diego to a conventional loan, and then buy again using your VA after you free up your entitlement. So but conversely, let's say you buy a house for $100,000 in Texas, and now you're moving to San Diego, California. San Diego, California, the county loan limit is $1,098,000. So if you wanted to buy a house up to $998,000 in San Diego, California, and leave Texas, you can do that on a VA home loan. So this is very much person dependent. That's why you need a good lender to talk you through this process.
To be honest, I did not know that. That is brand new to me. But listen, sometimes people don't know. You just don't know what you don't know, right? It's not what you don't have. It's about what's available to you. So if you are a vet, you rightly deserve this benefit. And we have the perfect person right here to talk to. He's local in the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex. And like I said, if we reach outside the state lines of Texas, he can still serve you. So we'll leave his contact information down below. And you guys can ask him questions, guys. Like, no questions off limits. I would assume it's a free conversation.
Absolutely.
Give you a call.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, I don't charge for my time, but and I love helping veterans. I love talking VA. In fact, I'm going to leave a link for you in the description. I do a VA about twice a month. I do a VA home loan webinar. It's free, 1 hour, all about VA. We do it twice a month, so we'll put that in the description so people can have access to that.
And our last question for Major is, how can veterans and service members prepare to apply for a VA loan?
Wow. Okay. I think the answer to that is just the same as any buyer. Okay. Responsible use of credit. Okay. Understand that if you go and you put furniture on a credit card or something like that, every $100 that you have in debt, it is going to cost you about $20,000 of buying power. So, the car payment that you have for, $700, $800 a month, keep in mind, $800 car payment just costs you $160,000 in purchasing power. So understand that as you're working up to using your VA loan, and just manage your debt property. Yeah, you got 100% financing, 0% down, but you still got to manage your debt properly and make sure you're in a proper position to buy a home when time comes.
So you guys hear that? Before you buy the car,
yes, buy the house first.
look, buy the house first, but talk to Major. It doesn't cost you a thing to talk to a professional who works in the industry. Like I said, this is a nationwide resource. A nationwide resource. So if you guys have any questions about the home loan process or about homes in the Dallas-Fort Worth, we are here to serve you and help you guys. And again, my name is Jaran Ramsey. I am a Dallas real estate agent here in Texas. And if you guys currently live here, or if you guys are moving to Texas, we can be your advocates. And we'll leave Majors his information down below. And if you guys want to connect with him, I'll let you mention the many products that you have.
Yeah.
So it's more than just VA loans, and it's a plethora of products that they could help serve you guys.
Absolutely. We do everything. Mortgage broker, so I do everything from conventional to VA to FHA to USDA to commercial to bank statement, no doc loans. If it's a loan, we absolutely can help you finance it. And in the right situations, we're here to be your advocate. We're here to help you. If you need a second opinion on something, if you're being told something and something doesn't jive with you and something not being explained to you correctly, you deserve, you're probably spending the most amount of money you're going to spend in your life at one time. You deserve to have your questions answered, and you deserve to have a thorough answer to the questions that you have in your mind as you're buying.
So you guys heard it here first. If you haven't already, please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to this channel. And please share this with anybody who's thinking about purchasing a home, anybody who's in the beginning stages of moving to Dallas or moving to Texas in general. Please share this video. And again, if you guys have any real estate needs, our contact information will be down below.